Great. From page. All right, we're gonna get started soon. If you want to take your seats. Is this loud enough? Okay. Just before we start, there we go. Before we start the meeting, a couple quick public service announcements. For an emergency, please note the exits on either side of the chambers and proceed down the stairs. The bathrooms are located out the door to my left, women's room to the right, the men's room to the left. We allow 30 minutes for public speaking. If you have not done so already, please sign up at the podium or through the Zoom chat by raising your hands. I'm now calling this common council meeting to order at 7:35 p.m. on February 7th, 2023. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. You may be seated. May I please have roll call?
Alderman Hill. Alderman Frankel.
Here.
Alderman Scott Childress.
Present.
Alderman Worthington. Alderman Muhammad.
Excused.
Alderman Davis.
Here.
Alderman Oliveri.
Here.
Alderman Shabbat. No.
Excused.
Alderman Hirsch.
Here.
We have a quorum. Can I have a motion to dispense with the minutes of the previous meeting and approve same? Motion by Rennie Scott Childress, second by Michael Oliveri. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is adopted 7-0. Can I have a motion to dispense with the reading of the general bills? Motion by Tony Davis, second by Michelle Hirsch. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is adopted 7-0. Before we proceed, we do have Alderman Steve Shabbat logged into Zoom. So if we could mark him as present, please. All right, as council members, we get the opportunity to meet folks from throughout the city and from all walks of life. Throughout our service on the council, we meet community members who truly move us by their acts of kindness and their efforts to better our community. Tonight, we recognize and honor a community member who has gone above and beyond to serve and help others with the Common Council Community Award. This month, we are delighted to present Tom Polk with the award. So I'm actually the one to present the award this month, so Tom, I'll meet you at the podium. So every month we've been, one of us nominates somebody who's done something for our community that is extra special, and this was my month to nominate, but I think I could speak on behalf of the council that we're all very happy to be awarding this to Tom. Tom is an indispensable member of our community through his work as a bicycle educator for the YMCA, where he runs the bicycle program, a huge asset to our community. Tom works hard to ensure better bicycle and general traffic safety throughout the city. This is an essential service to the city, especially as we welcome more people and as we encourage more bicycles in the city. And we want to honor and thank him for his work, whether it's education activities like helmet fitting and giveaways, the Bike It program, organizing safety vest giveaways, and according to the YMCA's website, bike rodeos, which I haven't heard that one before, but I'm very interested in learning a little bit more about that. So we appreciate your service, your desire to help others, and your kindness through, a lot of us have worked with you, and It's an honor to present to you the Common Council Community Award. So this is just a little token of our appreciation, so thank you very much. Would you like to say a few words, or?
First of all, thank you, Council President and members, for honoring me. I'm very, very grateful for this. And I just have to shout out to my family and to the YMCA, Heidi Kirshner, my boss, who provides leadership and support for all the programs that we do relating to biking. So it is much more than me out there. I just want everyone to know that it's a very important community role and one I really enjoy and feel is critical, as Andrea said, to making our city safer and more fun to live in. So thanks again.
We're now entering into the public speaking portion of the meeting. We have allotted 30 minutes for this purpose. Speakers will have 3 minutes. If there are remaining, where's my clock? If there are remaining speakers after 30 minutes, I will call for a motion from the council to extend the period for another 30 minutes. Speakers, direct your comments to the chair, as council members cannot engage in debate during this time. Please state your name and address on the record before you address the council. For the audience in chambers and on Zoom, there shall be no distractions when a speaker is addressing the council. The Common Council has also received written comments for our consideration, and they could be found on the city's website under tonight's agenda. Can I have the first speaker, please?
Pat Pelicano.
You just have to press the button.
It is green. Can you hear me? Great. I'm here to speak about, I think the zoning for Airbnbs are being considered for, I guess, the new zoning code. Is that correct, right?
Not tonight.
Oh, okay. Well, either way, this is still a moment to speak about Airbnbs in general. As we all know, housing in Kingston is at a breaking point. I'm here with a number of friends who have been kicked out of their apartments because their landlords wanted to make a profit off of housing and are living with the consequences of, having to find alternative housing in a moment when everything is more expensive and people are using housing as a commodity. And I really implore the city to get creative and imaginative with your abilities to expand housing in the city. We're looking at like larger projects. The KLT is buying houses and refurbishing them, and these are like many-year processes. But the housing pinch is an immediate issue. So I would call upon the city to ban Airbnbs in the city of Kingston, because if we need housing stock, banning Airbnbs would force those landlords to then put those properties on the market as a rent, as a rented property. They still would make profit off of renters, but they wouldn't make the exorbitant amounts that my, neighbors who have turned their, buildings and apartments into Airbnbs are getting. It's like $430 a night, like on St. James Street. It's wild. I, again, implore you to get creative for your constituents who are hurting because, I guess refurbishing the zoning code is an opportunity to address that, but this isn't a problem that's years in the making and will only continue to get worse as we drag our feet and don't address it correctly. Thank you.
Yeah. Next speaker, please.
Rosalie Amaga?
Hi, my name is Rosalía Arriaga. Yo vivo en la 47 Elmendor Street.
I live at 47 Elmendor Street,
Soy miembro de For the Money.
and so I am a member of For the Many.
Estoy aquí para compartir mi historia
I am here to share my story
que estoy pasando.
that I am living through.
Busco un alquiler
I am looking for a rental,
y lo único que encuentro son estos alquileres vacacionales.
and the only thing that I find are these vacational rentals.
Esto nos pone en una situación difícil.
This puts us in a difficult situation.
Le pido al concejal de la ciudad que nos ayude
I ask council to please help us,
poniendo restricciones a estos alquileres
put in restriction on these
a corto plazo.
vacational rentals.
Gracias, feliz noche.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Jamie Savini?
Hi, my name's Jamie Sannon. I recognize some of you. Maybe you remember me from the last time I was here. Maybe you think that you know me, but I'm going to share some stories. And the stories I'm going to focus on are around housing. So I'm from the Hudson Valley, grew up here, never lived anywhere else. But I've lived a lot of places. I've had to move 6 times in the last 4 years, and that's not because I'm some type of person. I think I'm a pretty cool person. I'm really involved in my community, in all the communities I've lived in. I've been involved in nonprofits. I've been involved in the arts, volunteering, but I've had to move a lot, and a lot of that is because I've had really selfish landlords that didn't treat me or my housemates like a person. And again, that wasn't because of our character, that was because they were really focused on their own profits and their own scarcity mindsets. So I'm asking y'all to step into your power and consider the zoning laws here to ban vacation rentals. There's a lot of folks that have less resources, less connections, less skills, etc., that also have to deal with these housing issues. And it's really not okay because housing is a human right. Housing is a human right. Housing is a human right. And it's really not fair that there are certain folks that get to come here and buy up property because of the resources that they have and then rent it out like it's some sort of game. I haven't had a place to put my stuff. I had to leave stuff in friends' basements. Those basements flooded, lost some of my stuff. I don't have parents that can hold my stuff. So it's not, it's not really a fun, but the landlords are people too. They have enough. They have a place to live. People need places to live. Housing is a human right. Asking y'all to step into your power, consider people over profit. Housing is a human right. Please do what you can. Listen to the people that are most impacted and not those that have multiple homes, so much so that they can rent them out. Housing is a human right. Listen to For the Many. Listen to the people that need a place to live and put their stuff and build memories and celebrate holidays and raise babies. Thank you.
30 seconds. Next speaker, please.
Mark Halderman?
Hello, I'm Mark Haldeman. I'm a Kingston resident. I've lived here for 15 years now. For many years part-time, up until the last few years when obviously circumstances changed and decided it was time to move up here full-time. I'm in a, I would say, somewhat unique situation, but not as unique as you'd think, because many of my friends and people that have lived here as long as I have are in the same situation where we're not only homeowners, but also property owners. I have one single short-term rental, and I also run an apartment building with 4 units that are mostly subsidized, state subsidized. One of the reasons I'm able to continue to do that is because of the financial situation regarding my short-term rental. I believe that the 2 issues we're talking about here, affordable housing and short-term rentals, are not one and the same thing. I think there's definitely a major issue with housing and the housing shortage in the city of Kingston. And I would welcome an opportunity to try to be involved to improve that. But I think holding most of the people that I know who have short-term rentals do not have multiple units. Generally, they have 1 unit or maybe 2 units, but not multiple ones. I know there are people from out of town who have multiple units, but I think for the most part, the people I know are hardworking people who are trying to better the community, bring increased business and business and just visibility to the town of Kingston and this area. I think the short-term rental market here has definitely helped the town overall, but at the expense of some people. I don't disagree with that. But I think the town council would be better served looking at ways to support more affordable housing in the city overall and work towards that goal and not just look at penalizing the people that are trying to make the city better and contributing to the financial benefits that a lot of short-term rentals bring in terms of
30
services,
seconds.
goods, et cetera. And I think there's room for both. And I would strongly urge you not to consider banning Airbnbs completely, but look at ways to make it more efficient and work for everybody.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Diana Lopez.
Hello, good evening. My name is Diana Lopez. I'm a resident at 38 Stefan Street, and I've been living in Kingston for over 25 years, and I am a community organizer with For the Many. So I, talk to a lot of folks like Rosalia and many others are in the situations that are trying to find a home. And unfortunately, all they find are vacation rental, these short-term rentals in Airbnb, Vrbo, these platforms. And the apartments that are available for like long-term rentals are very expensive. They ask for so many requirements that, already make a lot of folks like ineligible to rent them. So I am here tonight to ask the council to, really think about these folks that have been here already for a long time. And I know that, we always welcome new folks, which is really nice, but we have to put it first, the people that contribute to this community, families that have children in the schools. Children have to think about like, what if I can't live here anymore? Like I have to change school, leave my friends, teachers, everything. And I know that folks that own their home, try to also make like an income, which we totally understand because everything is very expensive. But I think that we do need restrictions on folks that are, not part of our community or coming to buy these homes, flipping them and just putting them up for nightly rentals. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Howard Weiss.
Hi, my name is Howard Weiss. I live at, can you hear me? Okay. I live at 53 Brewster Street, a few blocks away. When I first moved in a few years ago, several neighbors approached me to welcome me. And the first question was, are you going to fix up the house and make it an Airbnb? And I was kind of taken aback by it, but over time I realized why they were asking that question. Housing shortage is definitely a primary concern, I think, to everyone. But there's something else operating, and that is when you have a lot of Airbnbs in a neighborhood, first of all, the money, the profit from that leaves the neighborhood. The number of housing units, availability of housing units leaves the neighborhood. And on top of that, you have customers who are renting, passing through, who have basically no connection to neighbors, no connection to the neighborhood, and they're in and out, and the next people move in, and it's not contributing to the community fabric. I think the solution of limiting Airbnb or short-term rentals to people who occupy the building as their primary residence is a good solution. So I encourage stronger regulation and a tightening up of the vacation rental situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Scott Denny.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the council. How are you? I just want to speak something along the lines of the housing, but a little different. I happen to notice this evening on the City of Kingston website, Facebook page, I stand corrected, that the mayor posted that right now there's ARPA money going to be given out to non-profits in the amount of $375,000 to do events. And each non-for-profit would be eligible for $5,000 up to 5 times, or $25,000. Right now, on top of a housing crisis, there's even more than that that's imminent, and that's the people that can't pay their electric bills and they can't heat their homes. I've actually spoken to people in the area that say they're keeping their houses at 55 degrees. I'm not against the non-for-profits. I sat on the board of directors of the Boys and Girls Club in Saugerties for a number of years, like 7 or 8 years. This should be postponed, and the heating and electric issue should be addressed first for the residents so they can pay their bills and not be cold or without lights. So I would urge the council to take a hard look at that and just prioritize it, I think, is what I'm saying. And at this point in time, with winter still imminent, we're far from out of it, and we know how winters are here. I would urge the council to make monies available to the residents so they can pay those bills and not have to worry about having their lights or their heat off. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all we have signed up. Is anybody else, or is there anybody else in chambers or on Zoom that would like to speak? Sure, come up. And if you're on Zoom listening and you want to speak, just raise your Zoom hands. Thank you.
Test. Okay, there you go. Hi, my name's Billy Wakeman. I live at 42 Janet Street in Kingston. I'm a lifelong Kingston, New York resident. And this past year, I was asked to leave my apartment of over 2 years because the landlord, who was actually my neighbor bought the house I was living in, and then he let everybody know that he was kicking them all out because he wants to put an Airbnb in. So I thought that was pretty scummy. And I think vacation rentals should definitely be banned. One can conjecture to the possible benefits of Airbnbs, but I think the detriments are very real and obvious when people are getting kicked out of their homes. And that's what I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else?
So I'm from Orange County, from Rhinebeck, and I'm pretty new
Can
to
you
the
just say
area.
your name for the record, please?
Sorry, it's Isaac. Uh, you need the last name. It's
Yes.
Hoeywasso. It's real long. I can spell it. uh, it's Hoey and then Wasow.
Thank you.
Thank you. But I have seen in my old hometown like just whole streets of homes kind of turned into not just Airbnbs but hotels and resorts. I remember it happened for the first time when I was in 4th grade. I had 3 of my close friends leave the school district because they couldn't afford to live in their homes anymore. I'm from Rhinebeck, which is a very wealthy town, but the thing is the people, amassing that wealth are the people who own the homes and not the people living in them and in the town. And I think it's pretty clear if you've lived in an area that's been taken over by Airbnb that not a lot of people can afford to stick around after so many properties are flipped like that. And I don't know a whole lot, but I have seen it happen firsthand. And I really would like to just reiterate that what these people are saying. I mean, I've seen it, and it doesn't look pretty, especially for kids who, again, have to move school districts so young because they can't afford their homes. So just, really just want to stand behind what everyone else who's experienced this themselves has to say. But thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? What? Oh, yes. Since there's no more public speaking, just a couple notes. We don't have anything on tonight's agenda. All the primary public comments were about short-term rentals. There's nothing on tonight's agenda. You're more than welcome to stay for the rest of our meeting. But in case you want to leave, this would be a good time. Tom Polk, if you would like to stay with your fan club, you're more than welcome to stay, but we'll take 2 minutes. Just please note that it's really loud, even in the stairwells. So if you could, don't linger around and chat, because we could get to our governing. Thank you very much. You're still more than welcome to stay. There's also a public hearing on the rezoning on Monday, 6:30 here. All right, well, let's get back to work. All right, we now enter into claims and communications. Hearing no discussion, they will be on file in the clerk's office. Can I get a motion to dispense with the second reading of the general bills and pay same? Alderman Rainey Scott Childress with a very enthusiastic motion. Is there a second? Rita Worthington seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is adopted 8-0. We're now entering into the report of committees, starting with resolution number 24, please.
Resolution 24 of 2023. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, amending the zoning ordinance to rezone 25 Dedrick Street from C3 General Commercial to C2 General or Central Commercial.
On the question, Alderman Rainey Scott Childress.
Thank you, Madam President. For those not aware, this is for the installation of a brand new, relatively new to us, photography exhibition place. We're very excited that they're here, and this is going to be something that I think really adds to Midtown, so I'm definitely in favor of this.
Thank you. Anybody else? Hearing no more discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 8-0. Moving to resolution 25, please.
Resolution 25 of 2023. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, approving a 2023 transfer in the amount of $24,500 in the Arts and Cultural Affairs Department for various city-sponsored and collaborative arts events in the City of Kingston.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 8-0. Moving to resolution 26, please.
Resolution 26 of 2023. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, approving an intermunicipal agreement between the Town of Ulster and the City of Kingston Police Departments for shared police services.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 8-0. Moving to resolution 27, please.
Resolution 27 of 2023. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, to adopt the New York State Climate Smart Communities Pledge, Element 9, and commit to partnering with Cornell Cooperative Extension of Ulster County to develop education for this pledge element.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 8-0. Moving to resolution 28, please.
Resolution 28 of 2023. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, approving a 2022 transfer of $984 in the Building Safety Department to cover the expense of a desktop computer.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 8-0. Moving to resolution 29, please.
Resolution 29 of 2023. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing the transfer of surplus properties to the Kingston City Land Bank.
On the question? Alderwoman Michelle Hirsch.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to say that I'm very pleased to see the Kingston City Land Bank moving forward in the last 2 years to sell surplus properties to local first-time home buyers at 80% or lower AMI. It is beneficial to neighborhoods to have these homes occupied, as empty properties contribute to blight. It's also good to have these homes back on the City of Kingston tax rolls, which benefits all of Kingston. I fully support the transfer of these 3 homes, one of which has stood vacant in Ward 9. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Hearing no more discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 8-0. Moving to resolution 30, please.
Resolution 30 of 2023. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, approving a 2023 transfer in the Housing Initiatives Department in the amount of $245,625.50. What did I say? Did I say 21? $245,621.50.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 8-0. Moving to Resolution 31, please.
Resolution 31 of 2023. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, approving a 2022 transfer of $406.02 in the Housing Initiative Department to reconcile the budget.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 8-0. Moving to Resolution 32, please.
Resolution 32 of 2023. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, adopting the updated procurement policy as amended.
On the question, Alderwoman Michelle Hirsch.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to make a motion to send this back to Finance Committee for further discussion.
There's a motion. Is there a second? Second by Rennie Scott Childress. So the motion is to send this back to Finance for further discussion. Any discussion on that motion? Then I will call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The passes 8-0, sent back to committee. Thank you. We now move to the second reading of Local Law 1 with the vote.
Local Law 1 of 2023. Local Law of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, adding C7-7 to Article 7 of the Charter of the City of Kingston to adopt the 421-F property tax exemption for the creation of accessory dwelling units.
On the question? Hearing Alderwoman Michelle Hirsch.
Thank you, Madam President. I am in favor of this law to help create the expansion of ADUs in the city of Kingston. I've been assured that in order to receive this exemption that they cannot be used as short-term rentals. So I will be in favor of Local Law 1. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Alderman Rennie Scott Childress.
I too am in favor of this law because there's been a fair amount of research by people like Nathaniel Hendren at Harvard that demonstrate that one of the most important means to achieve better outcomes for low-income folks is to live in economically diverse neighborhoods by allowing landowners, property owners, residential owners to add one unit to their property. This is the sort of thing that allows for integrating a wider array of economic levels into different neighborhoods. At the same time, it does very little to crowd out most of these neighborhoods in Kingston. There's plenty of room for most of these, in most of the places where this would happen. So I see this as a great boon, as a wonderful project for creating better outcomes for many people who live in Kingston in the future.
Thank you. Anybody else? Hearing no more, I will call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Local law is adopted 8-0. Moving to local law number 2, also the second reading, so we'll follow it by the vote.
Local Law 2 of 2023. Local Law 2 of 2023 of the City of Kingston, New York, prohibiting the use of toxic pesticides and herbicides on all lands maintained by the City of Kingston.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Local law adopted 8-0. That ends our communications. So before we close our meeting, does anybody have anyone they would like to adjourn in memory of? Alderwoman Rita Worthington.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to close tonight's meeting in honor of Mrs. Annie Mae Lowry Knox. She was 91, and she transitioned on January 31st, 2023 of this year. She was the daughter of the late Sam and Moselle Matthews Lowry, and unfortunately, we did not have a full obituary for Mrs. Knox, but we do know that she is the grandmother of our fellow councilwoman, Naima Muhammad, and so our hearts and our prayers go out to that family. And if anyone is interested in attending her service, it will be held on Friday, February 10th, 2023 at the Riverview Missionary Baptist Church here in Kingston, New York at 12 noon. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Alderwoman Michelle Hirsch.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to close in memory of Stephen Michael Sickler, age 65, a resident of Kingston who actually lived on Brewster Street. He died Friday, January 6, 2023, at home surrounded by his loving family. He was born in 1957 in Kingston, and he was married for 22 years to his wife, and he worked as a maintenance man for many years at Dutch Village Apartments and several local hotels. We will all miss him and his dog baby walking our street. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you want to?
Do you mind if I?
Not at all.
Okay, so Mrs. Knox was educated in the South Carolina public schools. She relocated to North Carolina and settled in Gastonia in her early adult years. Having accepted Christ as her Lord and Savior at an early age, she became a member of Tabernacle Baptist Church, served in several capacities. During this period, she was employed by Sunshine Laundry. She relocated to Kingston in 1970. In Kingston, she immediately became a member of the Riverview Missionary Baptist Church. She was a faithful and devoted member of the flock. She loved serving and assisting the pastor wherever needed. A few of her prize ministries were Helping Hand Ministry, Mission Ministry, and lead servant of the Culinary Ministry. And if anybody ever tasted Mrs. Knox's food, yeah, she definitely was lead servant. Her motto was, "You have tried the rest, now try the best." She was the best cook on this side of heaven and mentioned by many in the kitchen. And so her obituary is quite long, so I won't read it all, but she was blessed with 28 grandchildren, 69 great-grandchildren, and 50 great-great-grandchildren, along with a host of nieces, nephews, cousins, and friends to cherish her memory. So she certainly will be missed. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita. Anybody else? All right, I will happily take a motion to adjourn. Motion by Tony Davis, second by Michelle Hirsch. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we hereby stand adjourned until the next regularly scheduled meeting on March 7th, 2023.